Initially, you find a good site that has a good soil that is not peaty, along with no low-hanging branches or leaves. To start, you remove any leaf litter or debris on the patch that you want to build a fire on. You gather your materials, these including different sized twigs, sticks and branches, in order to build up the fire and also to be able to control the fire too. You start by grabbing 5 or 6 large branches around wrist thickness to make as your base. Line these up so they have a little gap in between to allow enough oxygen to get to the fire. You then grab 4 slightly smaller branches to lay over and start the V-shape lay. You lay one at a 45-degree angle on one side, overlap it with another. Do this twice so you have a good height at the top of your V. After this, you put down your tinder and set it alight. In this case, I use the fire stick. After several tries, it lights. I then grabbed 2 bundles of kindling, which were small twigs that I found underneath a birch tree. You lightly push on the top of the bundle in order to be able to fit everything else on top and to compress the twigs. I then got the slightly thicker kindling, the finger thickness, and laid a big bunch of it on top of the fire facing the V-lay. Lastly, I placed the thick twigs on top of this in the same position, keeping an eye on the wind direction as it should be facing your back at all times. If you have more firewood or kindling, then keep going and attaching it to the top of your fire, keeping an eye on the size that the fire will get to. Once the fire is lit, sit back and relax while managing the fire by poking in all of the twigs into the center of the fire to ensure the fire doesn't spread. While managing the fire, you are picking up any excess twigs or sticks that have fallen, or any that need to enter the center of the fire in order to light. You can do this by using a large branch in order to keep yourself far away from the fire at a safe distance. When extinguishing a fire, you need to ensure, if you can, that the fire has burned down completely. It is more easily manageable then. You ensure all of the ashes and remains are in a group in the center of the fire, so that then it is easier to pour the water into a small space rather than a large fire. You then pour 1/3 of your bucket of water onto the remains and use a large stick in order to keep at a safe distance. You use this stick to spread and mix the water with the remains. This cools down the ashes to make it easier for you to spread the remains and extinguish your fire. You then repeat this with the next 2/3 of the water, mixing it as you go. While adding the water and mixing it, you can spread the remains in order to allow it to cool quicker. If it's not cool enough, leave it to cool down for a while, then come back to it. If not, add in more water and mixing it again. You then test the temperature of the remains by hovering the back of your hand over the top of the remains. When cool enough, if you were to be at a temporary site and you need to get rid of the remains, you scatter the remains far and wide, and then you cover with the leaf litter and debris that was there initially. This is how you leave a temporary site.